Okay, so, well, this is really, really something, ladies and gentlemen, because notorious kick streamer Vitaly and his friends set up a sting operation in order to capture a PDF who was dating a minor. And apparently, what they did is that they raided the house and apparently they bullied and shamed the guy in question. However, that's we're gonna have to probably see it to believe it. Now, just so you guys are aware of, is that there's a lot of people who have I have very very serious issues with this. Not about if this guy really did it, you know what? Absolutely, he deserves absolutely everything he gets coming to him. However, knowing from Vitaly and knowing other streamers who've done this sort of thing before, they do it for, let's say, not exactly the best reasons. But you're about to see in a minute.
Anybody fucking play with the Indians?
They've got axes. These two last guys, they've got axes. And they're literally smashing up the place. And they're forcing him to do push-ups.
Get your ass up! Take your shirt off! Hurry up!
They're forcing him to take his shirt off.
Before I smack the fuck out of you right now. Take your shirt off. Get your ass over here right now. Get over here! Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up! I'll smack the fuck out of you, boy! Now what the fuck are you doing here?
Get it out, guys. What's going on? Why are you here?
Hanging out watching the movie.
What the fuck is going on here? Who are you?
Hanging up.
Who the fuck are you? Why are you in my fucking house? Huh? Who are you?
I have no idea.
Please, look at me, son. Look at me. Was there a little girl sitting back?
You know what? I'm gonna take a wild guess that this is a case of stolen valor right here because, well, does this count as stolen valor, guys? Because there's a part of me that feels that you can't just buy these hats, and I'm assuming that that once probably did belong to a drill sergeant, and I don't think the U.S. Army would be particularly impressed at the idea that they would be doing this because, well, it would probably go a little bit beyond the. Did I say British? The American Army. I'm assuming that that they've this goes a little bit beyond this. However, there's not too much left.
When I got here, this motherfucker said some man is in my fucking house with my kid. What is it? Please look at me. Answer the fucking question. Huh? Stand fucking.
And Vitaly is just sort of smiling and pretending that he's just,
The only fucking reason I will waste your ass, because I got a career. You understand that? Get your ass to the dirt.
Sorry, let's take him out.
Yeah, so after seeing all that, again, I have very serious concerns because, listen, the sort of people, and listen, this is not just limited to just Vitaly. When you start going on these sorts of crusades to start bullying, shit, humiliating, and then like assaulting and threatening people with axes, I've never seen that before. I mean, that's extreme. That is extreme. Don't get me wrong. The problem is that if this guy really was doing that, then unfortunately, Vitaly and this little sting operation, they face the possibility that the guy could be let off on all charges because he was assaulted. He was subject to a level of humiliation. Like a lawyer, like in many respects, if this guy had a lawyer, he could immediately turn the tables and saying that this whole thing was not done whatsoever, or perhaps the girl that they had in question was a decoy specifically in place for this whole operation. So the entire thing could have been centered around humiliating him as much as possible for the sake of an audience. And I say for the sake of an audience and not for the sake of actual justice because, well, this hardly strikes me as justice because do we even know if this guy got arrested or because here's the thing, if the police did come, they'd be asking why are there three guys wearing balaclavas, wearing combat gear, wielding axes around this? And why is there video footage of them threatening this guy with axes and forcing this guy to do push-ups? And also, this guy here said that was his daughter. Now, if that's true, don't get me wrong. That's like, you know, it's that. I mean, if all of that is true, then that's, well, disgusting to say the least. If it isn't, however, that also raises quite a. Everything comes back to is how much can you really believe this? And because again, I've seen this sort of behavior from like other clout chasing streamers who think that again they're doing this. They believe that they're doing this for justice, and unfortunately, it's not. There's what justice is there in this? Because justice would involve this guy facing, you know, prison time for what he did, and well, and it works itself up from there. But where does the actual justice part of this come into it? And by the way, and the comments seem to reflect this as well. This is so stupid, and I hate PDFs as much as the next guy, probably a lot more actually, but making a mockery about what they actually do takes away the seriousness of the crime. This was lame as F and should be left up to the pros. Meanwhile, bully and shamed, he has the absolute right to shame. Like, listen, that might be true, and also the videos from 2022. Well, again, but at the same time, that's just, it doesn't make it, you know, any more conflicting, and if this isn't fake, everyone in the video is going to jail. I like watching these guys get busted as much as the next person, but I'm fairly certain threatening somebody with masked men and axes is against the law. Chris Hansen, yeah, Chris, this is not how Chris Hansen does this, by the way. Anyone who actually wants to know how they actually did this with Dateline NBC, go back and watch like the earliest Chris Hansen stings, and you'll see exactly how it's done. And, well, and by the way, the list of crimes is not any less shocking just because it was from 22 years ago. Meanwhile, yeah, that's the thing that all goes on, is that, quite frankly, everybody just straight up goes on the impression that, guess what? If it's a script, then they would be in jail, and, well, that's the thing as well. You've got to be very careful about this, because unfortunately for Vitaly, and Vitaly might think this to be the case, but he is not the law. He is not the police. Which raises a more pertinent question is, did Vitaly do anything after this revolving this sort of thing? Because if he didn't, then, real or not, he did this just for the sake of the clout, or trying to cash in on a trend, or whatever his motives really were. Because it certainly wasn't for the sake of justice. Or two, if he does continue to do this to this very day, well, I'm assuming there would have been a lot more videos going about with stuff like this. But let me know what you guys felt of it, and I'll see all of you guys again next time. Thank you.